You will rarely see many tourists visiting this place. We didn't either when we visited Japan for the first time, but we ensured we did not make that mistake and visited Yokohama. And man, that was a great decision. The Tokyo burnout is real, don't get me wrong. We love the Shibuya chaos as much as the next person. But sometimes your brain just needs a factory reset. So, we grabbed a train, and 30 minutes later, we were in a completely different universe. Welcome to Yokohama. If Tokyo is that high achieving, straight A student who never sleeps, Yokohama is the cool older cousin who lives by the ocean, wears vintage, and definitely knows where to get the best snacks. It's Japan's second largest city, but the vibes? Pure main character energy. We headed straight to the Minato Mirai district. The name literally means port of the future, and honestly, it looks like a sci fi movie set but with better aesthetics. The minute you reach, you can see the humongous Ferris wheel. Could literally spot it from every nook and corner. Our first stop, the Cup Noodles Museum. Walking in, we realized this wasn't just a museum, it was a vibe. It's all white walls, high ceilings, and minimalist wood. Very aesthetic Pinterest board. We bypassed the history exhibits for a second because we had a date with Destiny at the My Cup Noodles factory. Pro tip, you absolutely must book your slot in advance. If you just show up expecting to make noodles, you're going to have a bad time. This interactive museum is designed to stir the creativity and curiosity within every child and provide a rich educational experience. We began the tour with a room filled with cup noodles, explaining its history, followed by a short movie on the founder of cup noodles. Momofuku Ando dedicated his entire life to thinking about food in new and creative ways. First invention, chicken ramen, 1958. Second invention, cup noodles, 1971. Third invention, space ramen, 2005. Wild, right? We were handed an empty styrofoam cup, and this is where the panic set in. We drew what I would like to call a ramen, and my husband drew a meme. It wasn't art, but it was something. Then came the assembly line. It's a whole core memory moment. You turn a manual crank that drops the noodles into your cup. Apparently, it's easier to drop the cup on the noodles than the noodles in the cup. Physics is wild. Watching the machine heat seal the lid and shrink wrap the plastic was oddly satisfying. Pure ASMR. The final touch? They give you this inflatable airbag carrier with a string. So for the rest of the day, we were walking around with my custom ramen bouncing around my neck like a very weird, very precious designer bag. 10 out of 10 for the experience. We trekked along the Kishamichi Promenade. It's this gorgeous walkway built on old railway tracks that goes right over the water. It's the ultimate spot for a fit check photo because you have the massive skyscrapers of the city behind you and the blue harbor in front. The walk led me to the Yokohama red brick warehouses or Akarenga. As the sun started to do its golden hour thing, we knew it was time to head to Cosmo World. You can't miss it. It's home to the Cosmo Clock 21, which is this massive Ferris wheel that doubles as a giant digital clock. We are not usually a tourist trap person, but this is different. We paid my 900 yen and hopped into a gondola. As the wheel started to turn, the city below me just started to glow. Yokohama at sunset is a literal fever dream. We reached the very top, we are talking 112 meters in the air, and started squinting toward the west. And there he was, Mount Fuji. It was just a silhouette, a perfect purple triangle cutting through the orange haze of the sunset, but it was there. But as usual, Fuji-san was a bit shy and hid himself behind the clouds. Nevertheless, seeing the tallest mountain in Japan while suspended over a futuristic harbor, unreal. When we came back down, the entire amusement park had turned into a neon wonderland. The Ferris wheel started doing this light show with rainbows and sparkles, and everything felt like a lo-fi hip-hop music video. By this point, my stomach was making executive decisions, so we headed toward Yokohama Chinatown. Walking through those massive, colorful gates is like hitting a portal to another dimension. One second you're in a sleek Japanese port city, the next you're in a sea of red lanterns, neon signs, and the smell of five spice and roasted duck. It is the biggest Chinatown in Japan and it is loud in the best way possible. We didn't want a sit down dinner, we wanted to do a street food crawl. Here was the lineup: the Butaman, giant pork bun. These things are the size of my head. I got one from a stall with a huge line. Always trust the line. It was fluffy, steaming hot, and filled with savory pork goodness. Yaki shumai, pan-fried dumplings. These were crispy on the bottom and filled with soup. Pro tip: do not bite into these immediately unless you want to lose the skin on the roof of your mouth. I learned that the hard way. The panda bun. Was it just for the aesthetic? Yes. Was it filled with delicious chocolate custard? Also, yes. Ting Tang Tang Hulu. I found a stall selling candied strawberries. The crunch was legendary. The streets are a literal maze of back alleys and hidden temples. I found a tiny shrine tucked between two restaurants where people were burning incense and the smoke was drifting up into the neon lights. It was such a vibe. As we walked back to the station, our feet were definitely screaming at me, but our hearts were full and our stomachs were very full. Yokohama is that girl. She's breezy, she's aesthetic, she's got the best snacks, and she gives you views that make your phone storage cry. It's the perfect break from the Tokyo hustle. You get the ocean air, the creative DIY ramen, the on top of the world feeling on the Ferris wheel, and a food coma in Chinatown to wrap it all up. Yokohama, you were a 10 out of 10. No notes. If you like this video, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more travel content.